Armen Töugu. The spectre of war. Europe's responsibility. The Slavic spirit, which Rudolf Steiner argues must become the spirit of the next cultural age, today bears the features of an archangel, and is therefore spatially connected to the territory of the imaginary Russia being just mapped. Later, when he assumes the functions of the H-spirit, he will be able to extend his activities to the whole earth, so that he can inspire people from all parts and peoples of the earth. Today there are only a few people who can be considered as representatives of this Slavic spirit. Among them are those who have developed within themselves a sense of truth and karmic vision, karmic insight. In the past, there were in Russia so-called kaliki perechozies, pilgrims who wandered from place to place in search of the real truth. The impulse to seek the truth in Russia must in the future be accompanied more and more by the development of the capacity to consciously let the truth of the law of karma operate in the relations between people. This will lead in the sixth cultural age to the emergence of new Pentecostal communities, whose members will find each other and form a harmonious community while preserving their own free individuality. The spirit of the coming Slavic cultural age is inspiring people today on this path of development. Whether this future perspective will be maintained depends essentially on how the community of European peoples will approach the question of war with Russia. A war demon is currently trying to break the shackles of Ukrainian borders by exerting emotional and public pressure to spread the spectre of war to new countries and to play the old roles with them, bringing the centuries-old spectre of war to life. So far, the demon of war has been contained within certain boundaries. Edward Snowden has played a major role in this, exposing the manipulative power and authority of the secret services, by his courageous actions shortly before the outbreak of the crisis in Ukraine, which has awakened the people of Europe, and has taken the wind out of the sails of the mass media's war propaganda. Rudolf Steiner once said on the question of responsibility for the war that the question should have been asked as follows: who could have prevented the First World War? The answer at the time was, Russia could have prevented the outbreak of war at the last moment, but it did not. That is why it became Russia's karmic duty to be the one who was ostensibly responsible for the current war and to be made to look like the aggressor in the eyes of the world, even though it did not start the turmoil and changes in Ukraine. Today, the European Union is in the role of the Russia of that time, and so it has the fateful responsibility. It is now up to the European Union, and Germany in particular, to decide whether there will be a war with Russia. There is still hope that this time the Europeans will succeed in rendering harmless the century-old spectre of war.